Good morning, Northland. It's Monday, January 20th. I'm Brittany Falkers.
And I'm Ben Derry. And first, we want to wish everybody a very happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Northland at 7:24. I'm Brittany Falkers, and let's head right outside to get your first look at the weather. Ben, how's it feeling out there?
Actually, not.
Is hanging off the side of the Selwood building. Brittany.
That's right, Darren. I'm hanging off the side right now. Just started repelling.
Good morning, Northland. It is Friday, December 13th. I'm Brittany Falkers.
And I'm Ben.
Let's toss it over to Brittany, who's going to talk about some more pancake making. Brittany.
That's right, Ben. You know, don't let those cold temperatures or that snow get you down, because right here down at the deck, it is heating up. The pancakes smell delicious. I mean, we've got all these griddles here. Volunteers
After
are...
a check of the equipment,
And relax like you're going to sleep.
it's time to doze off.
All right, well, we're about to get started, so I guess good night.
Usually sleep study patients stay overnight. For mine, it
have
was
a lot of residual sugar. So it's a fairly dry style of wine.
I can taste the dry up.
Okay.
It's good though.
Absolutely.
So it's crisp.
Well, you've probably heard those signifying rhymes telling you what it looks like, such as leaves of 3, let it be. But what do you need to know if your day at the beach is interrupted by this pesky plant?
Coming up in our 6 o'clock half hour, Duluth's Underground Theater kicks off the 2014 season with a new show, and we've got the details.
Plus, it was rather icy on the roads yesterday, but we'll talk current road conditions coming up in just a few minutes.
But first, here's Renee Basal with a look at what's coming up on Eyewitness News at 5.
Good morning, Northland. It's Tuesday, June 11th. I'm Brittany Falkers, and we'll have your weather in just a moment. But first, we have breaking news out of Duluth. Multiple squad cars are at a taped-off crime scene this morning. Reporter Alan Hoagland is live. Alan, what are you seeing out there?
Well, Brittany, before I describe what we're seeing out here, we should tell
You were in Boston during the dual explosions. Could you tell us a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah, it was honestly, it was terrifying. We were in our hotel room, which is we were 200 meters from the first bomb, and it was Kara, my wife Kara, who Duluth native.
Well, it will be another day of heartbreaking farewells in Newtown, Connecticut, as 3 more little ones are laid to rest, along with one of their Sandy Hook teachers. ABC's Tamon Bradley is live in Connecticut.
Good morning.
And up and embarrassed, the volunteer fire department responded to a structure fire early Thanksgiving morning. They were called out to a report of a mobile home on fire at 4410 Highway 21. When they arrived around 1:15, it was fully engulfed and is a total loss. But the people inside were able to get out okay. The sheriff's office says
It's going to feel really good. And I'm noticing Ben and I are starting to look a little bit like Rudolph out here.
Yeah,
just a little bit with the red nose, but it's helping us see the way to giving this morning,
Absolutely.
I think. A lot of people have already stopped by with food donations, cash donations, and don't forget, you can also donate from the comfort of your very own home. Just head over to WDIO.com, and we've got a link right there to donate. But right now, we're going to head back to the studio. People for sidewalk days. But 9 stories up, I was getting ready to take the drop of a lifetime.
nervous. I'm excited.
The Over the Edge event starts in the staging area, where trained professionals get you all geared up, literally.
You want to hold this because it's, again, it can kind of hit you in the legs.
Gotcha.
You don't want to get injured, so.
Complete with harness, helmet, and gloves.
And you get a radio.
It's really not that much of a harness, though, is it?
No. I'm harnessing my chi as we get harnessed in.
It's hanging off the side of the Selwood building. Brittany.
That's right, Darren. I'm hanging off the side right now. Just started rappelling down. And, you know, this is a ton of fun. I can't believe, you know, these people are so professional and have made this such an easy... I didn't think I'd be this apprehensive.
Anchor on a rope.
I'm not as anchored as I would appear to be. Ba-dum-bum.
It's about getting out of their comfort zones and seeing what they're truly capable of doing.
Oh, that could have ended badly. But now he thinks maybe he could be a police officer
Oh, very
as well.
cool. You know, change of things with a simple act of kindness goes a long way.
Really cute story there. Well, thanks for starting your day with us. Good Morning America is coming up next. Enjoy your day, Northland.
It was a packed house Saturday afternoon as friends and family gathered to say goodbye to their loved ones serving with Chisholm's 114th Transportation Unit.
The crowd's amazing. This town is amazing to us. We always have a good celebration and send-off.
This will be the second time the 114th has deployed to Afghanistan, but that doesn't make things any easier for newlyweds James and Angela Woods.
Feeling good. It's the worst part is going to be leaving these two.
Angela says explaining what this all means to their 3-year-old is the most difficult part.
I think it's going to be hard with Audrey because she doesn't quite understand, and it's hard to explain.
Well, sexual assault is a topic often swept under the rug, and victims are left to pick up the pieces in the shadows. We spoke with 2 women who know that pain firsthand, but with support, found courage in the darkness. Here's our special report, Wounded, Not Broken.
The hardest thing you'll ever do in your life is to come out and talk about what happened to you, but in the end, it's better for yourself.
Mary says confronting her sexual assault was terrifying, but she says since speaking out, her journey has been empowering.
Now I've found this inner strength within me to say that I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue to fight and be a survivor.
Jane is another survivor, determined to change her life around since being sexually assaulted.
Now I'm going back to school, I'm doing a lot better, I feel a lot better about myself, and I feel like a lot of the weight is off my shoulders.
These 2 survivors found light at the end of a dark tunnel, but they worry about the countless others still suffering in the shadows. The U.S. Department of Justice says someone is sexually assaulted every 2 minutes, but it's also the type of crime that's least likely to be reported.
I think that society just don't want to know that it's going on, or they just don't want to deal with it.
Mary and Jane are not their real names. For their privacy and protection, we've masked their identities, but they're sharing their stories to encourage others to step up, speak out, and find healing. Mary was just 13 years old when she was sexually assaulted by her stepfather.
It was one of the scariest things I've ever been through in my life.
He was already physically abusive, but it turned sexual when he was alone with her one afternoon.
The next thing I remember is laying on his bed and he was pulling his pants back up. He looked right at me and said, "If you tell anybody, your mom and sister will be next."
That threat paralyzed Mary, and the 13-year-old kept the secret for the next 7 years.
If I talked about it or if I even thought about it, it made it real. And I didn't want it to be real.
As for Jane, she found herself the victim in a scenario that repeats itself all over the country.
It was awful. I didn't want any of my family to know.
She was drinking at a party with a friend who left her there alone. She was then coerced into a room by a man where she was forced into sexual acts against her will.
I didn't think they would believe me.
Because she was underage and drinking, Jane, like Mary, told no one, keeping her assault a secret. She thought she'd be blamed for what happened to her, and like many victims of sexual assault, she found destructive ways to cope.
I tried to block it out, and I dealt with it in other ways with a lot of alcohol and substance abuse.
Leanne Gerbavicic works with victims of sexual assault here at Superior's Center Against Sexual and Domestic Abuse. She says these kinds of stories happen all too often, and the lifelong after effects can be debilitating.
For example, depression, post-traumatic stress syndrome, unhealthy coping skills.
Trying to cope alone in silence is not unusual. The U.S. Justice Department says 6 out of 10 sexual assaults are not reported. But why? Fear is a major barrier keeping victims from getting the help that they need. Fear of retaliation from their attacker, fear that no one will believe them, that they'll be blamed and become a victim again.
Well, why was she wearing what she was wearing? Why was she drinking? It doesn't matter if you were drinking. It doesn't matter what you were wearing. No one has the right to sexually abuse you.
That's what Jane heard from the first person she opened up to, that she deserved it, that somehow it was her fault.
I think every victim or survivor needs to know that no one deserves that, and no matter what the circumstance is.
But there is hope. The staff at programs like CASDA provide a safe place for victims. Advocates offer emotional support, legal help, and provide sheltering. But they go a step further, educating the public and breaking through the ignorance surrounding sexual assault.
But it can be happening next door, it can be happening to your child, it could be happening to anyone you know, and they might just not be saying anything because they're scared.
Grabovicic says that we can do our part too.
I strongly believe if we have community supporters, just our everyday citizens that believe these issues exist, then we won't have individuals who have the fear of reporting because they'll fear that they'll have that additional community support behind them.
With help, those assaulted can move forward. Mary and Jane say they're living proof of that, but it takes support from others to get there.
It's very important to think of myself as a survivor, not a victim.
It's not an easy journey, but one these women say is worth it.
I feel like I can be myself again and not be afraid and not let this hold me back from anything.
With photojournalist Destin Johnson, I'm Brittany Falkers for Eyewitness News.
RG. Good morning, Northland. I'm Brittany Falkers.
When you say good morning to the world at 5 a.m., you have a pretty unique schedule. So when it's time to sleep, you don't want any problems. Almost half of Americans say they experience occasional insomnia. And while for some that may just mean a groggy morning, for others, it can have a big effect on their health.
Insomnia can certainly mean other problems besides just the poor sleep.
I've never had trouble sleeping before, but curious, I headed to the lab at St. Luke's for a sleep study. It's a way for doctors to see if issues you have during the day could be tied to what's happening at night.
Well, then your right hand.
Sleep technician Tom Kelleher hooks me up to a series of wires. Brain activity will be sent back to a computer and analyzed by sleep lab director Dr. Vance Batchelder.
So we're looking at front, central, and back part of the brain.
It also measures all those twitches your body makes during the night.
These are down here on the shins, and we're looking at electronic muscle tracings as well.
Dr. Batchelder says too much movement can affect how rested you feel in the morning.
Sometimes if you have enough of those, people can have daytime sleepiness on that basis. We call that periodic movement syndrome.
Starting to feel a little bit like a robot. Measuring my breathing is also a crucial part of the study. Many people come to the sleep lab concerned about breathing issues. Each one of these wires is connected to something in my body that's going to help them read my sleep.
That's it, we're ready to go.
Okay. After a check of the equipment,
And relax like you're going to sleep.
it's time to doze off. All right, well, we're about to get started, so I guess good night. Usually sleep study patients stay overnight. For mine, it was a long 3-hour nap. But we've all got to get up sometime.
Brittany, your test is over. You can get up now. How you feeling?
Good. Did you get any dreaming done?
I don't know. I don't remember my dreams. I think I dreamt about work. I guess it's about time to figure out how I did. Dr. Batchelder looks over all the data generated by those wires. They show where I am in the stages of sleep, helping him to find any abnormalities.
So here's what's been scored as stage 1.
The proof? The brain waves are quick when I'm awake, but they slow down when I drift off. Then, as the waves start to look like spindles, I've entered stage 2.
That's typically where most people sleep. You spend about 50% of the night in stage 2.
And after that, it's on to stage 3, or slow wave sleep. Then finally, I hit the deepest stage, the REM, or rapid eye movement stage.
It's thought that most of the time people will have fairly significant, vivid, and fairly scary dreams. And most of the time people are amnestic. They don't remember their dreams.
If those REM sleep dreams can be so intense, why doesn't our body move around in a big way?
And that's because your brain, in order to keep you from enacting, dream enacting, or jumping out of windows or whatever it is, your brain will paralyze your body.
Sleep studies can shed light on everything from insomnia to daytime sleepiness to other health problems. For me, good news. The doctor says my only issues are occasional leg movements and some shallow breathing, but he gave me the all clear.
But in general, yeah, it's interesting, but nothing that I'm worried about.
Okay, good. In Duluth, Brittany Falkers for Eyewitness News.